eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible split sword. His soul is seen in the bonfires of 100 circling camps. They have lived in him an altar in rules and dance. Fight and read his righteous sentence in the dim and flaring lamps. His name is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Christ was born across the sea, with our glory in his bosom, and transfigured you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us sigh to make men free, while God is marching on.
Hello and welcome to Getting It Done, a podcast about music, education, and life lessons. I'm your host, Tim Rausenberger, and happy 4th of July, everyone. Today is Thursday, July 4th, 2019. This is episode 293, America, Freedom. Freedom? Do we have freedom? Freedom, fireworks, and fun. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight, joining all of us here at Getting It Done, taking some time away from your busy holiday. I didn't expect to have anyone here tonight, and I was going to be doing the podcast no matter what, because I do not want to break the streak of having our podcasts each week. Am I a little bit loud? I'm trying to make myself so I'm not so loud here. New surroundings here. This is my backyard. Yeah, we are in my backyard. So I'm just going to kind of let you have a little bit of a tour here before we actually get going, before I give my shout outs to everyone in the chat. So you can kind of take a look. I will not show you my house at the moment. There is a very good reason for that. It's nothing to do with me worried about you coming to my home or anything like that. But here we go. So this is my yard. Pretty amazing. I think so anyway. Get the panoramic set thing. So we have this is a waterfall. Yeah. So that is my waterfall in the flesh. You can't even see it. Actually, you can probably kind of see it. You're going to hear some people screaming in the background. Why? Because, well, it's 4th of July. We might even hear some fireworks going off tonight. But that is a Japanese maple tree. The green and white things that we have there are known as hostas, Hostas. So I love my hostas. That is a pine tree. I have a bush like right next to me, getting a little too close to this crazy thing over here. So this shrubbery. So that's the rest of my yard over here. At one point, it went out into the abyss. I am lucky because I do not have any neighbors behind me, which is fantastic. But by the same token, I'm also very, very blessed to have this amazing, nice big yard here, and it's something that I'm grateful for every single day. I have this beautiful sky to look at with these nice big trees in the backyard. This is what I get to come home to every single day. I am hoping that we're not going to be having any major lighting issues tonight. Hoping not anyway, because, well, we'll find out. I haven't done many outdoor episodes. What I do know is that last week was a lot of fun. Hopefully you were able to tune in to last week's episode 291, where we checked out different types of burgers, and we voted on the burgers and all that fun stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, the shadows are going to kind of be going out in and out here. I'm doing the best I can with trying to get light, and I have lights kind of shining on me, so hopefully everything's going to be there. And that one hair is really bothering me. Oh, well, can't do anything about it. It happens with headphones. Trying to look a little more professional. Yes, are you seeing the bugs? Yeah. Are the bugs around? Yeah. Yeah, and in a little while, I'm going to be, yes, I do wear gel. Yes, in a little while, I'm going to be probably attacked by every single bug in America. So at my own risk. At any rate, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me here on Getting It Done on our podcast on July 4th. I right now have the magic cell phone here and waiting to kind of find out where things stand in terms of the rest of tonight's episode. Here's what I've been doing all day today. This is what I've been doing, running around. I just got home a short while ago. And I was going to do the podcast in different types of locations around the area. And unfortunately, I hit a lot of barriers. I've been in touch with various people all week. I was waiting for different people to get in touch with me because a lot of the important people were all associated with 4th of July celebrations. And it kind of goes along with what I tell my students. Do everything you can to contact people in advance, because you never know how long it's going to take for them to get back to you. So I really did everything I could to get in touch with these people in advance. In terms of the fireworks, here's kind of where I'm at right now. I literally have this phone, and I'm waiting on two different places in the area. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do the firework thing in terms of actually be at the display. You have to understand that when we do these types of podcasts, sometimes there are things. There's a fine line between just kind of, well, I'm just going to shoot a video for fun and whatever happens, happens, as opposed to actually having a professional podcast that's going on, which is what this is. And I am a professional in the field and needing to get clearance with certain types of things. When I ran my contest last week with the gift cards and gave things away, there are lots of different rules, stipulations that are associated with that and are associated with running a professional podcast the right way. And I want to do things the right way because I love this podcast. I love all of you for being here. But at the same time, I also want to be able to do this every single week and not run into any types of issues. So I like to get clearance with things. As an example, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to last week, instead of doing the burgers, I wanted to go into a restaurant and actually hold the podcast actually in the restaurant. It might be a little bit better there. Go. I was hoping to hold the actual podcast in the restaurant, and that could not happen in restaurants that are commercially owned. They are restaurants that have franchises, things of that nature. When you have that type of situation, you actually have to get in touch with their corporate offices, and the corporate offices all told me no. I guess they're worried about things not going well. I'm not really sure. So at any rate, so that's where I'm kind of at tonight, and it's fine. I was going to start the podcast later, but in the event that we are not going to have fireworks as part of tonight's episode, which I'm hoping to, but if we don't, then I'm going to end the episode plenty early to make sure that you are able to enjoy your fireworks displays. And to be fair, I think that there are going to be a lot of people who are probably not going to stick around and are going to want to actually be out and about and enjoying your fireworks displays anyway. I had a lot of people who said, you shouldn't be doing this tonight and you shouldn't have the podcast on July 4th. And it's one of those types of things where I feel very strong about consistency. And unfortunately, I did commit. Well, not unfortunately, I did commit. And I said to you guys last week that we were going to be having the episode on July 4th. And if I commit to a time and I tell you that I'm going to be having it on a day or at a time, you need to follow through with your commitment. And it's something we've talked about in the podcast before. It is an educational thing after all. All right. So speaking of education, let's get into the topic for tonight, which talks about America. So let's take a look at, first of all, the name of the tune that you heard as I was coming in. It is known as Battle Hymn of the Republic. Battle Hymn of the Republic is a tune that you have to listen to all the different words that are in that particular song. And yes, it is a song because you have plenty of instrumental stuff that's going on, but then in the middle, there's a gorgeous, gorgeous chorale. In that particular case, I think it was just a men's chorale that was singing, but it can be done in many different types of ways. The most common version I'm familiar with, and I'm 99% sure my spelling is usually pretty good, is the Willowski. I cannot remember his first name off the top of my head. Hello, Eats. Eats, do me a huge favor if you could. There is someone who I know, and if you could get in touch with that person, I want to take care of all your stuff tonight. So let's make sure to do that. That had to do with your gift card. I kind of had like a bounce back with that. So I want to make sure, I don't know if it came through, and if it didn't, I want to make sure that we get that done tonight. So please make sure to reach out to that person that that I know, and all that type of stuff. We know each other through like other people. So, but Battle Hymn of the Republic is an incredible American tune. I've got some other tunes that are here. We do have some other things that you notice that I happen to plug. Well, I'll get to those a little bit later in the podcast. You saw some food, you saw some beverages, and all that fun stuff. So one of the things I want to get into tonight, which I feel very passionate about, there are a lot of different quotes that are associated with famous people in America. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about right from the get-go. So I found I always look at different types of websites to try to find interesting quotes, things that we can use as part of the Getting It Done episodes. And I did have over here a particular list of American quotes that I wanted to address and talk about the people who are associated with those quotes and different types of quotes that make you proud to be an American. And the question is, when you hear these quotes, are they the types of quotes that do make you proud to be an American? This particular website that I got this off of, I'm just going to copy and paste it right in here. All right. My eyes look brown? My eyes look brown. Really? Okay. Sorry about you not being an American. Sorry. All right. So this is that's the place where I actually got where I'm getting this from. So I'm not saying that I'm stealing it or anything. Quote I'm going to throw in here is by Eleanor Roosevelt, who was First Lady, wife of President Roosevelt. Okay. And I kind of have to, let's see. I'm going to kind of, it only allows me 200 characters. So let's get this bunch in here. Put that in. And we'll do this. And there we go. Okay, so number one, freedom makes a huge requirement of every human being. With freedom comes responsibility. For the person who is unwilling to grow up, the person who does not want to carry its own weight, this is a frightening prospect. It's interesting because people always say, grow up and, act your age. And it's interesting because we hear that a lot of times associated with children. I like to associate it often with adults because I think there are many, 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 many more adults in this world who need to grow up as opposed to children. I just read on the news. I'm not going to get into the athlete. I'm just not going to do it. But there is an athlete who now, I think it's the third time in 4 years that he's either been apprehended or arrested. Third time in 4 years. And there are other pro athletes that it's been more. And it's amazing because this is an adult. This is someone who is a role model. It's supposed to be a role model and someone who's supposed to be setting a type of example. And they're arrested 3 times in 4 years. And every single time it's that I'm going to become a better person. Well, when? When are you going to be that better person? I have lived my entire life. I'm 46 years old. You know how many times I've been arrested? Okay, you can probably figure it out. 0. I've never been arrested. Okay, like what is that exactly? What is that all about? Do you deserve some type of a badge? Do you deserve a medal because you have not been arrested in the past year? What is that exactly? And it's not. Thank you very much. And it's amazing because it's one of those types of things where we look at her quote. And it's amazing. It's the first quote that came up, by the way, the very first one. So free makes a huge requirement of every human being, and with it comes responsibility. And there are a lot of people who they're not responsible. They're irresponsible, and they think that they're owed things that they're not. And I really never look at freedom as something that's an entitlement. I always look at it as being a privilege. I mean, think about it. I get to come home every single night to this. Every night. Okay? The American dream, that's fine. Here's what I know. Okay? It is the greatest feeling every single night to be able to come home, and you can probably hear it. There's that waterfall. And it's like people always tell me, they'll come to my house and they'll say, I hear nature. And yeah, I hear nature too. It's funny because I for the longest time, I never lived outside. This cord here is attacking me. Go. Okay. It's funny. Thank you, Jazzy. It's funny because the longest time I lived in an apartment. I did live when I grew up. We had a really, really nice backyard where I grew up, and it was something similar to what you're seeing behind me. Not designed completely differently, but but for the longest time though, I lived in an apartment, and it was just that whole brick structure thing, and there were really not many trees, and everything was all concrete. And it was funny because I really fell in love with the home when I looked at the yard. And the yard didn't look like this, by the way. I take a lot of pride in saying that I think I have the greatest yard. I think I have the greatest landscaping in my entire town. I truly believe that. I have the greatest landscaper in the world. I'd be happy to give you his information if you want it. He goes all around the area. He's one of the nicest guys in the entire world. I cannot remember off the top of my head. He is from one of the Latin American countries, and I'm forgetting which one. I think it's Honduras, but I'm not positive. But he is the man. He's incredible, and he takes care of my yard really, really well, and the way that everything is constructed. But you know what? He lives the American dream, and he's someone who never takes a day for granted. He loves what he does. He takes very, very, very good care of my yard. I take very, very good care of him in terms of his landscaping, in terms of all the guys that work here on my yard every single time they come. And it's incredible to me that there are just people who they think that they're just entitled to it. Go to some of these other countries. And I mean, and by the way, you don't have no excuse anymore for not knowing. You have this right here, right there. Okay, you have your computer, you have your phone, whatever it is, right there at your fingertips. Just take a look at other countries, and you tell me, even if you haven't been to the countries before, even if you haven't talked to people from those countries before, even if you don't know anyone from other countries, it's not hard. All you have to do is go on to any news network, Google a country, check out the conditions, find out what things are like. In a lot of places, they're not very good. They really aren't. And in America, we still have so many types of freedom. So that's number one. The second one that came up is something that he used on his campaign trail. And this is from President Obama. Whether you like him or you don't like him, does not have anything to do with it, but it has to do with this being a great quote. In the unlikely story that is America, there's never been anything false about hope. Now, I know that some people may say false news, fake news. That was not it. That quote had to do, it was actually produced a long, long, long time before our current president. But in the unlikely story that is America. And what he's talking about is the fact that there are so many people in our country who have been given opportunities, and they've seized them, and they've taken advantage of them. And I find it appalling, convenient, that there's so many people who criticize, especially people, if you want to say, not from America, and are there bad people? Of course there are bad people. There are bad people everywhere in the world. There are bad people of all colors, creeds, denominations, religion, backgrounds. There are all different types of awful people. They're not all from a specific country. They're not from a specific area. They're not from a specific color skin. But you also have, on the other end, you have a lot of amazing people who work very, very hard. And I find it incredible that I run into so many people who will be jealous, will be angry because another person works really, really hard and they do what they need to do, and then they're able to realize their dream, and they don't like the way that they did it. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. They did it. You didn't. They were working hard while you sitting at home on YouTube, watching TV. You know, if you're going to be on YouTube, tune into something like this. I'm not even just plugging my podcast, but I like to mix it up. I like to have a little bit of goofiness and fun. But here we are on the 4th of July, and there's, you know, you can even see it. It's funny. You should look right over there. You can even see. And there's a seriousness that I am associating with the holiday, because I think that a lot of people don't take it for granted. Why is it that on the 4th of July, why is it we have to blow off fireworks for what exactly? To celebrate our independence. Okay, that's fine. That's totally okay. Here's my question. Are you grateful for your independence every single day of the year or only one day of the year? And are you so grateful for your independence that the entire day today, you have been extremely kind to other people? I can tell you, for the 6 people who cut me off today and gave me a special gesture because I was doing the speed limit, I don't know how grateful they are for their independence. So this is what I'm talking about. It's the type of thing where, okay, you're grateful for your independence on one hand, but what happens the other 364 days a year? To me, I'm the type of person that I appreciate the holiday for what it is, whatever the holiday is for the year. And I'm glad that people can get together and enjoy themselves. I'm glad that the holiday can be used for that reason. But in terms of 4th of July, and it has to be red, white, and blue only on that day, one at every single day. And that's where I have the conflict. And I don't know if other people who are here, I know we don't have too many people here tonight, and that's fine. But if there are other people who share that type of stance. Okay, so in terms of America, it's an unlikely story, but I think a lot of people take advantage of it. The third one just happens to be Michelle Obama, and I'm just like going down here because I do want you to know that I'm not intentionally trying to get people from a specific party or anything like that. So you don't think that I'm just getting people who are from the Democratic Party or anything like that. So here is a quote from Michelle Obama. The fact is, with every friendship you make and every bond of trust you establish, you are shaping the image of America projected to the rest of the world. That is so important. So when you study abroad, you're actually helping to make America stronger. When you study abroad, you're actually helping to make America stronger. The thing that I say to that is you're helping to make America stronger if you're setting the type of example where you're able to say, well, here in America, there's a firework, here's her going off, where you go to wherever it is, you go to another country. And when you are visiting the country, when you are exploring everything about that particular country, maybe for the first time, maybe for the first of many times you've been there. And when you are there at that particular moment, thank you, Alice. When you're there at that particular moment, how is it that you conduct yourself? How do you conduct yourself at that particular time when you're in the country? Are you really showing you're a proud American, or are you being rude, or you're not having respect for the culture? And listen, it goes both ways. There are people who come from other countries that come here, and they're not respectful towards others. And there are different types of reasons, and then people can get the bad labels. But let me tell you something, my friends. Please don't ever think that Americans who go to other countries are always thought of as they're great Americans. We get labeled too. And I don't know if anybody in the chat knows that experience or has been there firsthand or has seen that or has family members or you lived there and you saw Americans who came to a particular country and while they were there didn't really conduct themselves in an appropriate way. Forget about an American way. What is that? An American way. Just act like a human being and act appropriately. So I think that's what that has to do with. Okay, so let's go on here. Skip number 4. Let's see. Yeah, I can go with this one. This takes us back here to president from quite some time ago. I'm going to go with number 5 here. America was not built on fear. America was not built on fear. America was built on courage, on imagination, and an unbeatable determination to do the job at hand. Wow, once again, working hard, and not worrying and having to look behind your back. Where you are now, your particular environment, are you constantly having to look behind your back? You might be. Are you in a situation where you might be able to change that? And I can tell you where I live now. What do I have to look behind my back for? bugs. The bugs are starting to definitely come out. It's starting to get a little bit darker out here, and I'm starting to get a little bit. There are definitely some little critters in the area. Outside of that, I feel pretty safe where I am. Does that mean that something can't happen to me in the middle of the day, in the middle of the night? Of course, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and you can't be worrying about that all the time. But I look to my right, to my left, I look across the street. I got neighbors that are the types of people. They look out for me. They look out for my house when I'm not home. I do the same for them, and we'll say different types of things. We don't really have the issue anymore, especially since I put the fence back there. Again, for those of you that are just joining me, this is my yard. Go. I get to view every single day and what I'm grateful for every single day when I get home. But, there's that fence there, and that fence was not originally there when I had moved in, and I had to put it there. And while I loved the whole concept of going way out into the forest, it was beautiful. The problem was, the thing that I became fearful fearful of was the night that I got a knock on my door, and it was the police, just to let me know that there was a 700-pound bear on my front lawn. Hello? There's a bear on my front lawn? That's not good. And where did the bear come from? They kind of had the idea that the bear probably made its way into the neighborhood by coming through my backyard, because I was one of the only backyards that didn't have a fence. And I said, you know what? I think it's time we need to get ourselves a fence here. Is it going to prevent animals from coming on the property? Of course not. The small animals are still going to make their way around here. There are a lot of skunks, a lot of raccoons. I'm terrified of both, but a skunk or a raccoon, yeah, they can both do some serious damage, but I don't want to be having a bear sitting on my car when I have to leave for work in the morning. And there are a lot of people who actually have to deal with that. Where it is that they live. These animals need to go somewhere. You have to remember that they have to go somewhere. And after a while, some of them will get hungry, and they are not terrible animals. They're hungry. And sometimes you make the mistake of leaving food outside, or you have your garbage can out. They're going to get into it, and you kind of did it yourself. So luckily, since I've had the fence here, we've really been able to curtail the amount of deer and the amount of bears. Matter of fact, I think I've only seen one deer in my neighborhood since my fence was installed. So I think that was quite some time ago. I really haven't seen any large animals. But, where did we get that on? America was not built on fear. And when I come home, I feel pretty safe. Do I enjoy my commute every day? No. Do I enjoy being in my car for 2.5 hours because 495 had a gigantic, awful accident yesterday and it took me forever to get home? No, I didn't enjoy that. Did I enjoy finally getting home and being able to take a nice deep breath and be able to relax and be able to enjoy my yard? Yeah, I was able to do that. So in terms of, and by the way, on the other side here, which you're not seeing and you will eventually see, I'm in the process of getting a new deck and all different types of amazing things. And I'll do some podcasts from the deck, but I'm not showing you that because on the other side of this camera right now, it looks like a complete and absolute war zone. Okay, let's go on here. Let's take a look here. Ooh, this is a good one. This is really good. This is number 6. And I'm not going to do all of these tonight. We'll be here forever because I want to move on to some other topics. This is really, really, really good. Let's see. Let's see. Almost. Put that there. Okay. Put a whole bunch of different things here. This is a long quote. All right, this is from Emmylou Harris. Emmylou Harris, who is a singer, and patriotism. So patriotism, loyalty to your country. How you feel about your country, being a patriot. So patriotism can be good or bad. Knee-jerk patriotism can be very bad. Let me get the rest of it out of the way. I'm patriotic almost to the point of self-consciousness, but I love my country the way I love a friend or a child who I would correct if she was going the wrong way, who I expect the very best from. It's a great statement, as Alice said, right? Patriotism can be good or be bad. And when you are celebrating patriotism only on one day and one only, I don't think that that's a good thing. When you are celebrating a holiday or something that you feel very strongly, you have a strong belief in, and it may be religion, because I can tell you this much. I don't like talking about politics, I'm talking about religion, but I will say this about religion. If you follow a religion, to me anyway, you should be either in or out, not in between. I've always felt about everything. And it goes back to that word at the very beginning of the podcast, commitment. You're either in or you're out. It can't be, if you, for instance, believe in something associated with the religion, let's just use the word God. Okay, let's say you believe in that. It can't be, well, I believe in God today, but I don't believe in God on other days. It can't be. It just can't be like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with questioning things. That's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with questioning stuff. That's fine. But what's not okay is when people are defending certain types of beliefs on some days and then on others. It's that whole expression, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't decide that on some days you're going to have a position on something and then you change your position totally and completely the next day. You know what that does? It aggravates people. It annoys people. When you're inconsistent, it's very, very irritating. And that's what we're talking about with knee-jerk patriotism. Knee-jerk patriotism, the perfect example I can give you is that you decide that you are going to celebrate Christmas, celebrate Easter. Those two holidays, you're going to celebrate them because perhaps you're guilt-ridden. You have so much guilt inside of you. You absolutely must go to church on those particular days. But then the other 363 days a year, you're not following those particular teachings. So I look at that as kind of being a knee-jerk type of thing. It can't be some of the time. It can't be that you're a good person most of the time, but then there are other parts of the time where there's this real, like, pure evil about you. That it can't be that way. And everybody's guilty, but we always have to work on ourselves and we have to become better in that particular way. And I love how Emmylou Harris says that she will correct people in that regard. I think that's really key. I'm going to take two more of these quotes, and then we're going to get to some other things here that I want to address tonight. So let's kind of go through. No, I want to do that one. This is another Roosevelt one. I don't want to do another Roosevelt one. No. Maybe. No, I don't like that one. No. So I'm not really a fan of. Okay, definitely want to use number 15. I definitely want to do 15 as the last one for sure. Let's go back here. I'm going to use this one. He's a president I really, really, really liked a lot, and I really, really didn't like a lot at the same time. There were certain things in his policies that I loved, and certain things I absolutely hated, especially now looking back. But Ronald Reagan, this was number 10. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. What does that mean? That means that at the dinner table, and if you want to think in terms of family, where you get together as a family and you're having a meal, whatever that meal happens to be, and you just talk. And you're having you're having a real conversation, not the type of conversation. And a lot of us have been there before. A lot of us have been there before as kids. A lot of us are there right now in that situation where you sit down at the dinner table and for whatever reason, there's perhaps not much to talk about for whatever that reason might be. And the person says to you, so how was your day today? And the person responds, good. And I did a video on the words pretty good. And if you haven't checked that out, make sure to check out that episode on the poem pretty good. And you'll know why you don't want to use those two words together. But good is not really much of an answer. That's it. You know what? I almost look at the word good in that case as just like an acknowledgement, almost like a grunt at the person. How are you today? Good. Oh, great. Okay. You're really excited. Okay, that's wonderful. So, but when you're dealing with the family dinner situation, is there actually a conversation that's taking place between the family, the elder members of the family, older people with the younger ones, and then vice versa? Okay, is there interaction that's going on? Or is it the type of situation that's happened? They go back to that whole entire thing called TV dinners. And TV dinners, that's what we kind of think of as a dinner that you would pop into a microwave now. But TV dinners from many years ago, the whole term came about because people would not want to eat as a family at the table anymore. They would take their dinners and they would sit around the TV. And now that they're watching the TV, nobody's talking with one another. And now where are we at in 2019? Now people, they take whatever meal it is they're going to eat and they go into their room and everybody goes in every different direction. Yes, I have been there before. Been there, done that. But I can tell you, though, the culture that I was raised in when I was growing up my whole life, when we had dinner at the table. We didn't have dinner where it was take it and go. That was not how we did the dinner thing. Even if it was for a short time, we always had it together. Did we have substantial conversations at every dinner table? No. But we did at least have the concept of dinner at the table. So that's what Reagan is talking about. And I'm going to get into 15 here so we can finish this up here in terms of the quotes. But I really like this one a lot. And this is one of the heroes in politics, not a president. I believe Secretary of State. I think I hit that right, I hope. Madeleine Albright. The magic of America is that we're a free and open society with a mixed population. Part of our security is our freedom. Part of our security is our freedom. We're a free and open society with a mixed population. I'll tell you right now, all you got to do is take a look at the news today, and boy, is that statement. That's opening a can of worms right there, just looking at that statement. And this was said many, many years ago. And this was echoed by many, many people. So if it's been echoed by so many different types of people who I might add in terms of politics are from every single side of the aisle, Democrat, Republican, Independent, and any other types of parties. When you're getting these types of statements from all these different types of people, this has to do again with coming back to not being identified with a party, but just being human. And again, the commitment and the fact of how we conduct ourselves. And this is the America that I'm talking about. Because we do have these types of freedoms that you just simply don't have. And we do have less violence than other countries, but we do have more violence than other countries too. And we have some issues here that they don't have in other countries, and vice versa. Every single country has them. One thing I can certainly say is, and it's not an unfortunate thing, it's just a reality. I don't think there is any such thing as a number one country. I've never liked when people say, oh, America's number one. I don't think there is any number one. How about being a number one human being? That's where we need to start. We need to become a number one high quality human being. need to actually be a person who cares enough to be able to come to you every single Thursday night. And I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but I am trying to spread a positive message to other people and trying to get people to think. All right. Michelle, great to see you tonight. Thank you for being here. Alexa, Esther, of course, Alice, the whole entire crew. And I just want to say hello to some other people who have been here, have been kind of in and out. Jazzy, Itzy, Ken was here earlier tonight. Julian was here. So just some big thank yous to all those people who were able to join us here tonight. Again, and I know I'm so eternally grateful to all of you for being able to take some time out tonight. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are in my backyard. And again, I'm just kind of give you some sights here. We have the waterfall, and I get to sit in this nice, comfortable, beautiful chair. So we have the waterfall going on that runs 24/7. Yes, 24/7 is in the winter it runs as well. And that's the entire yard, all that good stuff. And I'm thrilled that at this particular time of year, we have such, oh, wow, nice breeze here. That's awesome. We have such nice weather, and we have, of course, lots of sunlight. I even have lights around me right now, but it turns out I didn't need them, especially with looking at the time right now. Certainly did not need them. So let me ask all of you in the chat, and there aren't a lot of you, but are there certain things that you're grateful for when it comes to America? Are there things that you're grateful for? Are there things that your family is grateful for? Is it something that is ever discussed? Is it something that's rarely discussed? Please feel free. I'm just going to get a quick drink here to express that in the chat, and of things that you're grateful for when it comes to just America as a whole. Right, so Esther writes in the freedom, the bravery, the laws. And there are so many different ways that can go with laws. It would take too long to go into that. But there does need to be a sense of law and order. There needs to be a sense. And people will say silly things, like when it comes to classrooms, about classroom discipline. Deep down, all people want to be disciplined in some way. It's just the way that you enforce it, the way that you instill it with people. And I think the biggest thing that people are always looking for when it comes to any type of discipline, any types of laws, are very, very simply, are they fair? Are they fair? And it's like tonight, for instance. I'll give you a classic example. What would have to do with the law tonight? Fireworks, which is the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Now, here's the interesting thing with fireworks. So in the state of New Jersey, last year, and I think that's what I just read online, excuse me, I believe it was just this past year that last year, excuse me, that they instilled it. But fireworks were not legal here for a long time. So people that wanted to set off fireworks in New Jersey, they would have to go across state lines and get them from other states. I don't know where those other states were. Fireworks are not really one of my favorite things. They just haven't been. My experience of, I don't know if I want to call it scarred for life. I went to a fireworks display in Bergen County. I won't say what town. It is a very, very, very well-known fireworks display to this day. And what my parents were, excuse me, I wasn't with my parents. I was with some friends, I think some family members, but my parents were not there. And what the people did not tell me, they didn't say exactly how loud those fireworks are going to be. And I remember just sitting out on like a beach towel type of thing or a blanket and looking up. When I tell you my hearing, I couldn't hear properly for at least 2 or 3 days after the fireworks ceremony ended. I mean, right in the middle, the rest of the night, I could barely hear anyone. It was deafening, absolutely deafening, unsafe decibels of sound. It was so loud, and it was one of those types of things that actually hurt my eardrums. That's how loud it was. It was so loud that it made people scream. You hear people screaming. I don't know what what that's all about. I hope they're okay over there. I hope they're having fun. I hope they're having fun on the 4th of July. But when it comes to fireworks, though, what are people going to do tonight? Are they going to be following the law, or are they going to push it a little bit? And then are they going to make the law their own and be convenient and say, well, I was just doing it for fun. And well, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have had this particular firework because there are only certain ones that are legal in the state of New Jersey when they passed this law. And the ones, of course, that aren't illegal are the ones that are the bigger ones and the ones that cause a bigger hazard and cause people to lose digits and, lose limbs and all these different types of things. And you want to believe that it doesn't happen. And, I'll never ever forget the year that I was out of New Jersey. I don't remember where I was, but I remember reading on the news that Jason Pierre-Paul of the New York Giants lost fingers because fireworks blew off in his hand. I mean, that's reality. That happened. And you know what? That really impacted everybody. That impacted the whole team. It impacted his career. It impacted the team because of something honestly really stupid. And did you have to handle the fireworks? No. Have I ever handled a firework in my life? No. Even when I was younger, I was terrified. I'm like, I know things going to go the wrong way. I'm going to lose my eye, whatever. No, just put that off to the side. Thank you very much. So the question is, are people going to actually follow the laws tonight? And there are people who specialize in setting off the fireworks. And I think there are a lot of people who like to take things into their own hands, and they're going to do it themselves, and they're going to do it better. I have to be very honest about this. If you want to see a great fireworks display, you need to go to one of these events, because even bad fireworks displays are still way better than being in a neighborhood and watching some person decide to set off a whole bunch of fireworks. And deep down, I hate to say it like this, but deep down, it has nothing to do whatsoever with the quality of the firework. You're kind of saying to yourself, I hope the person doesn't injure themselves. That's what you're actually saying deep down to yourself. You're saying, I hope they don't hurt themselves. And there's really enjoyment in that? Really? You're hoping deep down that they do or they do not hurt themselves, and you're spending July 4th in the emergency room, a night that is notorious for being extremely busy because of fireworks related injuries. So in even a bad fireworks display tonight, wherever it is you go, and I want people to be safe, I want my listeners to be safe, wherever it is that you're going to go tonight, go somewhere where people who are professionals are going to give you the best opportunity to truly enjoy everything. Now, some of them are going to have music. We're going to kind of do a little bit of an outro tonight. We haven't done that with most episodes, but I'm going to kind of do an outro tonight with a little bit of music to end the episode in a patriotic type of music in just a little while here. But in terms of the fireworks displays, some of them will actually have music and it will be blaring over speakers. Now, with the New York City, the Macy's 4th of July, I believe it's still Macy's, and they do it over the Hudson. That's a glorious display. And there are plenty of places that you can go to be able to view that. That was one of the things I also looked into today. And unfortunately, the state parks that I wanted to go to, they all closed at 8 p.m. Just so frustrating, because you say, well, why didn't you go there? Well, the problem is that at 8 p.m., they really do throw you out. I don't want a situation where all of a sudden a park ranger is coming up to me in the middle of my podcast, throwing me out. They're not going to set off the fireworks anywhere before 9 o'clock. There really is nowhere, because it's not dark enough. It's got to be dark enough. So the fireworks displays everywhere start between 9 and 9:30. That's when your fireworks displays are starting off. But I wanted to get the right situation. Epic, what I said earlier, and it's okay if you weren't there. When's fireworks? Can't do any fireworks right now, obviously, because it's light outside still. What I'm still waiting for, and I have 2 contacts here. I'm trying to set up a situation. It will be, if I'm able to pull it off, It will be in a separate episode, just out of fairness. I'm not going to keep you guys just hanging here and waiting forever. It'll pop up on your feed as a separate episode if I am able to get clearance and be able to do the podcast episode, because quite honestly, if we're going to go to a fireworks display, I'm going to be doing commentary on it. There are places that may or may not want me to be doing commentary on their episode. And again, I understand that there are people that do their own YouTube channels and they have their own way of doing things, but in trying to be a responsible podcaster, the hope is to do it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hopefully, I'm assuming you're talking about my yard, or you're talking about me, or maybe both. Yay. But in terms of the fireworks displays, it's important that people understand that I have a particular way and particular standards of how I do my podcast, and I feel very strongly about it. And again, it's one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast tonight. I told you guys last week that it was going to be tonight, and I think that it's very, very rude and not nice when you say that you're going to have something at a particular time, at a particular on a day, and then all of a sudden you just decide to change things on the fly. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. So let's see some other things here that Esther was just talking about. Me and my family, we're so grateful for the opportunities America has to offer. Can you, Esther, just maybe talk about one or two of those types of opportunities that America has been able to offer to your family? I think that that's a great thing. And Esther, you can even share in the chat if you want your background, where your family's from. I know, but everybody else doesn't know, so you can even type it in there and wait for them. Oh, here we go. That's some fireworks. Are you able to hear those fireworks? You hear them? I can definitely hear them. Yeah, I think some people are just kind of testing them. I think some people are, they've probably partied quite a bit today, and they are in a fireworky type of mood. So the job is my family came here and they didn't go to college, and they're able to make good money and live well. That's great. I think that that's tremendous. That is a big problem in a lot of places where the money just isn't there. Well, not just the money not being there, but the jobs are just simply not there. And the fact that we here in America have people all the time, they'll say, oh, well, I can't find a job anywhere. Well, there are jobs everywhere. I'm sorry. There are a lot of jobs. Just what type of job you want to do. It may be the job that you don't care to do at this particular time. I've been there before. I have been involved in lots of different types of jobs that I've done that I didn't care to do at that particular time, but I did it because I needed to make a living, to make some shekels, to make some money here, and it was absolutely imperative that I do that. So they said, they didn't go to college, and that's something to think about. Please never think that because somebody goes to college that all of a sudden they're going to make good money. It doesn't work like that, my friends. It doesn't work like that. And I have a lot of students who falsely think that. What are you going to do after high school? I'm going to go to college. Well, going to college doesn't do anything at all if you don't do anything with the college education. I talked to someone recently who was not a very good high school student. That was me too. And the two of us were talking about the fact that we were not good high school students. Our grade point averages were almost exactly the same. But you get that fresh start, completely fresh start when we went off to college. And that person's doing extremely well. I did extremely well when I was in college. I busted my rear end. And now what's the reward? This is the reward right there. Okay. That's the reward. That's what I get to enjoy every single night. And it's all mine. And you know what? You can be as jealous as you want. And all I have to say is you could have done it too. And there are decisions that you have to make as to where you live and the types of things that you want. Again, what comes with this? There's a price that comes with this. 2.5 hours of being on the road yesterday because of a massive accident on a New Jersey highway yet again. That's the price that you have to, there's trade-offs. You can't just, everything in life's not just going to be fun and easy all the time. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, it can be fun and easy. And I hate to say it this way, but most people that want things to be fun and easy all the time are also not putting any work into anything with their life. And if you're, I guess, lucky enough that the funds are available, then great, and all the power to you. If you just want to sit around and do nothing all day, but that's your decision, and you're right to do that. As Esther says, you can't learn or grow that way, and that's right. She's absolutely totally right. And what a great educated comment from someone who is well beyond her years in terms of how someone like Esther views the world. Someone like Esther, you're looking at this chat here and you're seeing her name all over the place, but the reality is that she's putting the time in. She's always looking to grow. She's always looking to better herself, and I have to give her a lot of credit in that regard. She tunes into the episodes, is able to learn a lot, and there are other people who are also here, and it's not that they may be shy and they're they don't want to put their name out there, and that's totally okay too. And you're also learning a lot throughout the episodes, and that's the goal. The cleanness, I guess she's talking about. Yep. Finding some countries are corrupted. America isn't. That I have to disagree with. There's corruption everywhere. Every single country has corruption. It's just that sometimes you cannot see the corruption going on. There are too many examples of corruption in America. It's documented. All you have to do is just Google it and do a search, and you can find loads and loads of areas of corruption. That's okay, because you would not have known that had you not typed it in the chat. But there's corruption everywhere. The bottom line is that there's always greed. There are always people that want more money. There are people that want more power, and it's just the way that it is. I'd be sitting here lying to you and saying that I wouldn't want 1 million views on YouTube. Of course I want 1 million views. I don't want a small number of views. I want lots of views. I'm putting a lot of time in. I'm putting a lot of effort into it. Yeah, there's a gratification involved with people in the chat over here who are enjoying this and loving the background, and I'm able to expose them to this too. And in order to do this, there's money that's involved and there's time. Speaking of which, for tonight, because I knew we were going to have a very, very low viewership tonight. I just knew. It's the 4th of July. A lot of people are away on vacation. It's our first full week of summer where no one is in the public school right now. Anywhere in America, there's no school that I know of that is a public school that has school now, unless they have a 12-month year. But New Jersey, all the schools by law have to be out, and all the students have to be done. Teachers are done with education no later than June 30th. So that's just the way that the contracts are set up in the state of New Jersey. So now we are in our first full week of summer, and I knew that we were going to have a lower number of people on here. So for that reason, here's what we're doing next week, and here's where you get the extra advantage of next week. Because you tuned in, you can know this in advance. Next week, remember those Six Flags tickets? We're going to be doing the giveaway next week. We're going to be doing it on the air, and it's not going to be random. What I'm planning on doing with the Six Flags tickets, and I'm going to put all of the details in the description for this episode. All the details are going to be in the description for this episode. But here's what's going to basically happen is I'm going to create a series of questions in which, while the podcast is going on, you're going to have to research those questions. And it's going to be one of those types of things where I'll ask you, like, who was the 16th president of our country? I mean, I'm not going to ask that question, but there'll be an example. And if you know it right away, then you know it right away. If you have to Google it, then that's fine too. But it may be a race to Google, and there are going to be other questions I'm going to ask that you may not be able to Google very easily. Some of the questions are going to be tougher than others, but it's going to be one of those types of things where you're going to type your answer in there, and you'll get a point for the answer, and whoever has the most points wins the tickets. It's really that simple. So we have those 2 passes to Six Flags, and they're going to be given away again next week, but they're going to be given away, and I'm going to give a series of questions. They'll be given, the questions will be given away, not as the podcast is going on, but I'm going to give them all all the questions. I'm going to list them. There's going to be a specific place you're going to be able to go to take a look at all the questions, and then you can go for it. And I'll be doing some other things, kind of keeping people busy here on the air, people that are not as interested in participating in the contest, and they just want to focus on other types of things for the topic next week. So, we are extremely blessed to live in this country. And I don't take that for granted. I want to certainly get our outro music going on as I kind of give some closing statements about America, closing statements about the holiday. So there we go. A little Bluetooth action here. Let's get a little bit of outro music. Just give me a moment here. Appreciate it. Okay, need a little bit of outro music here. Just kind of wrap things up for today. So there we go.
A new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just, and the weak secure, and the peace preserved.
Now, this is the John F. Kennedy inauguration speech. Thank you for the color. I appreciate that. And it was, I'll tell you, it's amazing, Esther. One of the things, thank you for the delicate comment.
Nor in the life of this administration.
It was very, very hard to actually find something that was going to be able to go with this tie, too. This particular tie is not the exact red that we used to, and to be able to have a shirt that went with it, I was pretty excited about that. So just listen to John F. Kennedy just for a moment.
My fellow citizens, more than mine, will rest the final success or failure of our cause. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to it. The grades of young Americans who answered the call to service around the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny,
and
poverty.
As I go to the to Battle Hymn of the Republic, as our the music that you were just hearing, the music of excuse me, the speech that you were just hearing was John F. Kennedy in his inauguration speech. He's an influential president. You didn't have to necessarily like him, but he was very important to the country. So let's get this going here. A little bit of gain here. Yep. Okay. So, at any rate, John F. Kennedy was a really, really influential president. I think that we had a lot of influential presidents throughout the course of American history. Our current president is influential. You may not like him. You may not like what he stands for, his policies, his personality, but he is influential. He's making changes, and people don't like change. John F. Kennedy made a lot of changes in this country. John F. Kennedy Boulevard, of course, in Hudson County. And of course, that's certainly named after him. That's because he is a very, very important president. But you look at there have been some presidents that really didn't accomplish too much when they were in office. And there are some people who, for lack of a better word, kind of stood there, didn't really do, a heck of a lot, and didn't really try to establish any type of legacy. But, presidents that come to mind, for me anyway, that I feel that were extremely influential, I think both of the Roosevelts were very influential. I don't want to go much before Roosevelt and go back to Abe Lincoln and everything, but I want to talk more about the 20th century and more recently. But I think the Roosevelts were extremely influential. I think it's good to know them. And if you're going to look up history, I think that's something to do. The other presidents I would look into, John F. Kennedy, for sure. Richard Nixon. I think Richard Nixon is a good one to look up. There were, of course, he was one of the only presidents who resigned. I don't know if he was the only one who resigned when he was in office, but he did a lot of things that were very, very controversial when he was in office. I always admired Jimmy Carter for being. There was something I always admired about him because of his grace. I always thought he was a very, very graceful president. But it was interesting that I always looked up to him when I was younger, because he was really the first president that I remember when I was younger. And that really changed with Ronald Reagan. And I really liked Ronald Reagan a lot when he was in office. And now that I've gotten older, there are certain things that I've come to like even more about him, and then there's some things I really don't like about what he did when he was in office. Extremely influential. Bill Clinton, extremely influential and controversial in many different types of ways. George Bush, the second one, the one that we had after Bill Clinton. Very, very, again, controversial with some of the things that he did. There's some things that he did that some of the people in the American public will never forgive him for, but at the same time, there are some decisions that he made that I think people do appreciate that when he was in office, and I think that people didn't realize some of the good things that he did. I don't know if they outweighed the other things. And without a doubt, Barack Obama is very, very influential. He did serve 2 terms, first African-American president we ever had. And of course, our current president, and whatever your thoughts are on him. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to do the best possible piece that I can as I'm holding my Bluetooth speaker as it goes away. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to next week with some Six Flags free passes that you're going to have to earn. Be well, be safe on this 4th of July holiday. And if I'm not able to tune in later, hope you enjoy those fireworks wherever it is that you're going to go. Check out episode 292, in which I'm going to be discussing, that will be released shortly after this episode closes down, where we are going to be discussing several different things in America, just to go one step further, to be very grateful for. Peace.